Hey, honey.
How are you? Great. How are you?
Good. Good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. I'm just turning you up a little bit. I've got my laptop open too, so I can help with the questions and
Perfect.
stuff.
I actually have an email question as well, so we can start with that in a few minutes.
Good.
But I thought first we'd just say hi.
Perfect. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Sheena. How are you, hon? I went to the bookstore to drop off more copies of our fabulous book. They ordered another 6 books today.
Yay!
So I stopped by and then I was wandering around just picking up other books, and there's none on the shelves because they had run out.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
So I was walking down the aisles and picking up some goddess books. Then I ran into one of my clients, Bridget, who I don't know if she's going to join us today, but she was there with her daughter actually recognized her. She goes, "Isn't that woman?" Because we have masks on, right? So it was so sweet. And I met her sister,
so awesome.
who's hopped on Clubhouse and on here before. So it was just so lovely to see them all in
that is so
the
awesome.
intuition section. So yeah, it was so great. So.
And I see Angela. Hi, Angela. How are you?
And Angie is the person I actually have the email question from. I thought maybe we just first start talking about intuition. Her question's about signs and symbols, so maybe we can talk about that. And then I'll pull up her email. Do you want to just start gabbing about signs and symbols?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Sure. So signs and symbols happen all day, every day, and we want to be open to them. Okay, we want to be open to the messages, and a lot of times we can just ignore them. So everything small, from a butterfly to something big like seeing a dolphin. I know that sounds like, oh well, we see that all the time. It's where I live. It's really paying attention to what's going on in your life, what you're thinking about, what you're feeling, what your question is, what's going on for you, and what the message is. And a lot of us just ignore that. So yeah, do you want to add on to that, Lynette?
Yeah, I think part of what happens for us is our culture teaches us not to pay attention to what's around us, not to pay attention. Oh, there's a ladybug, or we have, like when I hear the owls in our backyard, I'm like always stop and like, okay, there's something magical happening. Nature is a force, and the universe is in constant communication with us all the time. And when we can be receptive, when we can be present, we can pull all those I love it when people are like synchronicities, right? It's like, oh, it's synchronicity. I'm like, yeah, okay, okay, you can call it synchronicities, but it's the divine at work. It's the universe at work, right?
And sometimes we forget that we're actually part of the universe. We sometimes think the universe is out here and we're here. We're actually interconnected. So as we ask and we're open, we receive the messages. And it's really about us being that simple. So I'm going to read Sheena's question. She's popped up, and then I'll read Angie's email.
Okay.
Sheena wrote in.
I just saw Sheena's.
Yeah. Sheena wrote in, Divi, you recently mentioned seeing the eagles or them symbolizing something. Is there something specific about eagles? You want to grab that?
One of the books that I highly recommend if you're going to be paying attention to signs and symbols is Ted Andrews' book, Animal Speak. And it is one of the, I think I have it right here. I'm going to show it to you just because it's one of the most powerful books you can get. Animal Speak. And he's got several different volumes, but he goes into detail, not just the symbology, but other cultures, what cultures say about the eagles, what it represents. And one of the things that I love about things like seeing the eagles is being present to what was I thinking of, or where was I when I saw them? Because they're sending me a message. They're communicating to me. Was I present? Was I grounded? Right? A lot of people see eagle as freedom, right? But I also see, for me, so again, working with these totems, you start receiving your own shorthand, what it means to you, what works for you. But for me, when I see eagle, I'm always guided to look at things from a much, much higher perspective. I know hawk brings that too, but it's like eagle for me is is something, yeah, it's very sacred. Yeah.
Powerful. That's why I always think of it, Sheena, as very much power. And like Lynette was saying, what was I thinking? What questionings was I having? What was I wondering when I saw the eagle? Because there's, you know, time is instant. And we sometimes forget that. Like Lady Lynette said, I saw a ladybug fly by. What was happening right then? Right. So hopefully that helps. Right. Yeah. Butterflies and hawks. Beautiful, Raya. I'm going to read the great question that Angie sent in. She writes, so she lives in an apartment. A couple of pigeons visited her small apartment balcony recently for about 10 days. When they go on the balcony, the doors are opened or closed. They just fly off, but they come back and they fly off again. They're obviously a couple and they're snuggling up. When they get a chance in one of her flower pots that's unpotted. But now they have not been back for a few days. Of note, she noticed that there was an egg in the flower pot, which she discovered when she came home after a walk one day. And she looked at the pigeon when she found the egg, and the pigeon looked directly at her, but did not fly off. For health reasons, they cannot keep the pigeons and on the balcony and to watch a baby pigeon hatch. They just can't. So Wildlife Rescue told them to take the pot to the downstairs area, which they did, and hopefully the birds would find it down there. But instead, what happened was a hungry other bird got it first, which she's okay with. She knows that this is normal in the animal world. Then that night, she had a dream, and a little bird nest on the wall inside of the house was there. Then I had a dream. There was a little bird nest on the wall inside the house I was in, where a cute little fluffy bird looked at me. Yesterday, we had a visit with my daughter and granddaughter for Mother's Day. And believe it or not, she gave me a little carving of a bird, a seagull by the looks of it, which she had bought 2 months ago. Within 15 minutes after they left the house, a pigeon landed on the porch. Never before, but she ever seen a pigeon on her porch. What is the message here for me? I can no longer think. I'm just noticing this.
Wow. Yeah. Well, the first thing that I get, and that was Sheena, right?
That was Angie.
Angie. The first thing I get, Angie, is first of all, notice all the bird symbolisms. Birds are like, and you've probably heard Abraham talk about it. Birds are the most sacred messengers. They are the most sensitive to energy and vibration and frequency. So the first thing that I get, and again, I would totally recommend Ted Andrews' book. If you want to dig down, that's what I do. When something comes up for me, I like to dig into it and find out what's the message, what's going on. I got multiple things as Divi was reading your email. First, the birthing of something new that is you know, and I keep hearing that wasn't wanted. The birthing of something that wasn't wanted. So what I would take a look at, is there anything that you've birthed or anything that you've brought forward that you're looking at? Maybe this is a good time to purge. Maybe this is a good time that this project's complete, or this project is not feeling as fulfilling or satisfying. Let me stop and slow down and take a look at it. The other thing that I hear about the pigeons is the cooing. I keep hearing the cooing, and there's something very soothing to that cooing. And I see that they're drawn, all these birds are drawn to you, that they're little messengers coming to you. And what I would recommend you do to, create your relationship and your connection with your intuition and the universe, like in nature, as you're communicating, is like, okay, what's the message here? So seeing the pigeon, what are you my teacher? It's one of the things one of my teachers, shaman teachers, told me. When you see something like that, you ask, are you my teacher? And if you hear yes, what is it you're here to teach me? I would always, like we said, like Debbie said earlier, be present to what is it that I've been focusing on, right? What have I been focusing on that? And here's the thing, that that egg that you took down to another, level away from your balcony is part of the cycle of life, and everything dies. And noticing that realignment and going, this is a offering that I'm giving. Maybe the birds will find it and maybe they won't, but this is an offering to nature and the universe. And it feels like to me that's a big time about communication. What do you get, Divi?
Yeah, I'm getting a lot about the communication, and also what does Angie want to birth that's new? And does she have dreams that are coming to life, but she's a bit afraid to step forward to them? And then she wrote in, she's been trying more to pay attention to her clairaudience. So that's beautiful.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And to also not be afraid of that which you want to birth, because I can feel it in your heart, Angie. It's like something wants to come forward. Because I have me see your heart chakra and just like this blossoming. And what do you want to birth or bloom that maybe you're afraid to, or you're stopping yourself from? That's the other thing.
And that fear too is that something will happen to it, like what happened to the egg.
Right.
That, those doves, those pigeons totally trust nature, 100%. And that they knew whatever needed to happen, happened. Right? So I would ask, are you trusting your guidance? Are you trusting nature? Are you trusting the messages you're receiving?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Angie wrote in, she's not sure what it is, but she knows the heart is involved. So my sense is it's still unfolding, which is completely normal.
Oh, yeah. As those messengers, what I would do is I'm also keep seeing Cinderella, how the birds came in and got her dressed and stuff. What I see is, talking to those birds, that beautiful bird that you received for Mother's Day. That's like a totem. You could use that in ceremony. You could use that in energy work and say, okay, what is this? What are the birds collecting around me? What are you trying to say? I'm not hearing, I don't receive it, and then sit down and do some automatic writing with it and see what there is.
And Angie, the name of the author is Ted Andrews.
Yes, Ted Andrews.
So hopefully that helps, Angie. Just let us know. Sure, it sounds good. So yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And just checking in, are there any other questions that anyone has? I don't think there are. I don't think I've missed any, but I'll scroll down and check.
Yeah, I don't see any. I was looking too.
Okay. Yeah, she said thank you. So
perfect. So Divi, maybe let's talk about the signs and symbols conversation, because when you first begin working with your intuitive abilities, tracking your signs, because we all have different signs and symbols, right? My signs aren't going to be the same as Divi's. I mean, there can be some general ones, but typically the universe and the divine speaks to me individually. It speaks to Divi individually. And one of the things that we recommend is creating a symbol legend, keeping a diary or a journal where you track, like for me, yellow roses to some people might mean friendship. That doesn't mean that to me because of my experiences, right? That means something totally different. And it's so important that we're able to track that and be present to that, so that we're like, oh yeah, when I see it again. It used to be that, and they evolve too. Your signs and symbols, the more that you're connected to them, they'll shift and evolve.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I used to always see handcuffs as, like a challenge or a problem. I would see the symbol of handcuffs. And then I started seeing handcuffs broken that represented a betrayal or a divorce or relationship that's breaking. So it's like, it kind of evolved, right? Now that's my personal symbology, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that that's what it means to you, right?
Yeah, it really, it's very helpful to keep a journal or, just catalog in your brain, but a journal is a lot easier because in my experience, you often will see repeated symbols, right? Like for me, it's like, oh, that picture, right? And it's like, and the more you're used to them, then you can describe the symbol you're seeing and what it means to you. And I'm also very open to saying to a client, this is what I'm seeing, this is what it means to you. Does it mean anything else to you? That's really helpful too, to be very open to your client saying, this is the symbol I'm receiving, da, da, da. And for them, it might mean, like you said, yellow flowers might mean something totally different to them.
Right.
So.
Might be something totally different. And the same thing too, I would recommend those of you who are working with your clairaudience, since we brought up clairaudience earlier, is the same thing with sounds or lyrics or certain songs, right? There's always a certain song that I receive that means something specific. There's, if I'm working with a client, what's so beautiful about this is it's a shortcut. It's like shorthand. It's like the universe coming in and going, let's get to the heart of the matter right now. Right now. We don't need to talk around this. We don't need to talk about defending or being upset, blah, blah, blah. Let's just get in and get to it.
Completely.
So, I would also track songs and lyrics.
Exactly. I'm going to read in Raya's questions so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle here. Raya writes in, how do I know if my original vision of my work, purpose and passion is shifting and to trust it? I feel a shift from therapy to more guiding and coaching.
You want to answer that?
I'll go first if you want.
Okay.
Raya, what I'm getting to say to you is you're connecting. They're having you feel your heart chakra. That's where I'm going right away. They're showing you a picture of you're connecting more to your quiet, still center, which is like the blossom for everything. They just showed me a picture of one of my symbols, a flower coming out of your heart, which is a symbol of like expansion for me. And what I would say to you, Raya, is that because you wrote in, it's shifting. And what I always think of is the original, that of thinking of your work not as solid like a brick or a house, because often that means it's stuck and this is what I need to do forever. And that can often leave us handcuffs. So I just thought, so funny you say that.
Yeah, I know,
you
right?
feel stuck. But what I would suggest, Raya, is it's an evolution, is what I keep hearing. And I keep hearing the word service. And you want to be of service and your heart is opening, expanding. So I wouldn't think of it as, a huge, drastic, oh my God, everything's changing. But it's more an expansion of your original offerings. That's what I'm getting. Yeah.
So for the first thing that I see, Raya, is that, and I understand this because my business is going through a transformation as well, and it's gone through multiple transformations. I started off in the legal world, and now I'm over here in a whole different universe, and it's those transformations. And I always feel like when there's that fork in the road, when my business is expanding and evolving, or when I'm expanding and evolving, there's this call, there's this pull, right? And I know which way. I have that sense in my body. I can feel that this is a new place, a new direction, a new evolution, expansion of where I'm going, what I'm teaching, what I'm being. And the biggest thing is trusting that. Because so many times we do that, and then, oh, the money doesn't show up, and then I'm not supposed to do this, and this is like it, and it's not that at all. It's not that at all. It's about learning to interact and understand your communications with the universe. Understanding that this is a power, a talent, a skill, and ability that's within you. And it's your communication, your connection. And it's about, I also see that it's about purifying that and you understanding how you are evolving through that. I want to say, when I am being guided, especially in my offering and my business, to stretch beyond where I'm comfortable, to expand, I always know that there's great things at work. Because one of the things I have to tell you that drove me nuts in these 30 plus years that I've been doing this work is that you see people and they'll just teach this one little section. The teacher doesn't evolve, the space doesn't evolve. It's just, okay, I'm going to teach that all apples are red. Even though I might go out and see that there's green apples or yellow and red apples, right? And being able to trust the universe that says, hey, Lynette, take a look. There's these other color apples. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it, because it's not only expanding you, it's expanding all of your clients. It's expanding everybody you connect to. But it is scary as all get out to do that. It's scary. And I feel like I don't want to call it a test, but I feel like it's the universe saying, are you serious, Lynette? Do you really want to be of service? Do you really want to show the world that they can heal themselves and they can expand through intuition? If so, then this is what you need to do, right? So I totally understand that conversation. And if it were me, I'd be going, okay, where am I stretching? And know that I'm stretching, and how do I get support in my stretching, right? You're having that community and those people around you, that inner circle, your coach, the people that see you and say, yeah, heck yeah, go. Swing for the fences. Stretch. It's scary. But,
And she wrote in, yes, it's scary. That's it, right? Exactly. Exactly. It's scary.
Yeah.
And it's where your heart is called. Right?
Yeah. Because once you take that step, the fear is gone and your heart just expands like crazy.
Exactly. So I love that. Somebody just wrote in, hello. Hello, Cov. So yeah, exactly. That's you're welcome. Right. I hope that helped. It's exactly it. And so it feels like,
and then you love, we totally get it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do we ever get it? Do we?
And keep stretching, because you don't want to be one of those people who's stuck back there teaching the same thing. Wait, somebody say something?
Yeah, I'll tell you in a second.
Oh, see, I'm still just now getting, yes, it's scary. So way behind.
Somebody just wrote in, yeah, she wrote in scary. Yeah. Cov wants to, CAUV. Cov has a question. When will I meet my soulmate? Have I met him already?
When will I meet my soulmate? So the first thing that I hear, Cov, is that, I'm going to be really honest, honey. When people ask me that question, I always stop and go, wait a second. Where are you? Like, because I feel you looking for your soulmate. And your soulmate, your soul knows exactly where your ideal partner is. And it's about listening and following the guidance so that you can step into being who that person you need to be, so that you can have that partner or be with that partner. The other thing I hear, Cobb, is I hear in no time at all, but there's a caveat, if you can don't shoot the messenger. If you can let go of the past, I can feel this deep, my body's burning up on fire. I feel this deep hurt from the past. And we've all been, to love is to be hurt. And that's one of the most vulnerable positions there is. And it's one of the most gratifying and satisfying. And I see soon if you will step up and do this. What do you get, Debbie?
As soon as I read that question, Cov, they showed me right away a mirror. So when will I see my soulmate? When you feel, and this is so Hallmark, so I apologize, Cov. When we see ourselves as our soulmate. Because you are your soulmate. Right. And that's when we're not looking outside, and that's when they show up.
The other thing I hear, didn't she ask, have I met
Yes,
him already?
Have I met him already?
Because, so here's what I want to say about that, Cov. I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. And that is, darling, your soul, your heart knows. And I keep seeing you taking this one person and flipping them over and going like a cat does, like, is this what I want to play with? Right. And I say stretch and check it out. Trust. So I don't think that I really answered a question. Have I met him already? Met them already?
Yeah.
And they're saying, again, it's completely on to you and where you are in your development. What do you feel like you deserve to have next? Do you need to have a relationship that you've earned through a lot of lessons, or are you ready to just, yeah, bring on the good stuff?
She typed in yes.
Honey, I keep seeing, I'm sorry,
Yeah, no.
Debbie, I interrupted you. That I see, Cobb, that it's just right here. It's right here. It's right here, but it's you, baby. It's you.
She wrote, I'm laughing.
Is that good that you're
good.
laughing? Is it? Oh, okay.
Whew. So ready for 3 more, a little heavier questions, but they're great questions, but heavy. I'll start with the first one. Shauna,
Okay.
oh, sorry, give me a sec. You have to pull it back up. Shauna typed in, let's see if I can pull it back. Whoa, where'd it go? Just 1 second, disappear. Okay, I'm going to read one of the other ones until I find it again.
Okay.
Sheena wrote in, will I ever get over the crazy emotional connection with my partner that I have just separated from? I feel like I won't be able to move on because I'm still so emotionally attached.
Sheena, baby, you are lassoed in there. You are stitched into his energy because there's a part of you that believed that he was your icy knight. He was the one that's going to make everything all better. And it feels to me that part of this detachment, because that detachment is so important, and that's why it's one of the universal laws, right? Universal law of detachment is in our current relationships, not just our past ones, right? You know, we all have had past relationships where it's like, oh, I like to call him my husband, right? So, you know, my husband, I love him dearly, but he's past relationship, right? So there's that space where we really have to acknowledge. You want to take a look and acknowledge, what did this relationship provide me? What did I receive? What are the soul lessons? This experience taught you something, hopefully. If it didn't, you're going to have to learn it again. So I recommend doing a deep inventory and what you learned, what you received, and also what didn't work in this relationship. So you can be really clear that, you know, wow, I really loved that person and they were really great, but they said a lot of disempowering things about me. And my, like for me, one of my things is like, you don't get intuition, and that's fine. Don't talk to me about it. Right. I had plenty of partners who just, right. So that's a big one for me. So you take a look and see, you know, what are your deal breakers? What is it that you learned from this? What deal breakers did you step over in this? They're showing me you stepped over some deal breakers in this relationship. And that's why you're so heavily invested. And I keep hearing time. It was about time. I spent all this time, spent all this time, spent all this time. Great. You know, we spend time going to college. We spend time going to the hairdresser. We spend time going to work out. This is part of Earth School, right? Take all the good stuff. Take everything that you were, you know, what the relationship was to teach you, so that you can move from that space.
Bang on. Yeah, she just writes and she spent 20 years. So she wrote, yes, 100% it taught her. So one last thing I'll add before we go to the other couple questions that have come in. Sheena is also looking at the ancestral stuff. I keep seeing your mom and your grandmother's lineage. Also, like, just what's the entanglement of the beliefs? And that's going to take, I think I make a joke, but they're showing me a big glass of wine, a pen and paper, a candle, and a Kleenex box to just sort of like start journaling what's in there, what's in there. So that's what I would start with.
Do that inventory. It is so helpful.
Very helpful. Got a couple questions. This one's from Melody and then one from Jennifer, both around career path. Then I'll grab Shauna's in a second. Melody writes in, I'm a doer, but I feel like my path is not to push right now and do right now, but to be present and to heal. I'm good at making my, sorry, I just have to, for some reason I'm not being able to put up on my computer. I'm good at making myself wrong with self-limiting belief systems. And it's coming to me that she needs to sit still and be still and retreat rather than running. I think that's a question.
Well, that's some great, I don't know what I could add to that, but what I will say is that stillness is epic. If you can sit and be still, you'll be amazed at the wisdom that is within you. I mean, because it's like I didn't hear a question in her.
Yeah, and I apologize. I'm wondering if Shona and Melody, you could type your questions in again, because for some reason they're lost on my feed. So I do apologize if you could type them in again, and I'd really appreciate that. So I'm so sorry. And then maybe Jennifer's, because it's pretty. So if you could just type it back in, Shona and Melody, that would be awesome. Jennifer's is pretty straightforward. I know Jen quite well. She writes in, she's considering a career change. She's wondering if there's some insight around making this move or staying in doing what she's doing.
I see that it's Jennifer, that it's an evolution of it. It's not just completely walking away from something. You are being, again, I feel like, and I think this is why Divya and I started doing these, is because we feel it's so important. That's why we teach our ICT course, is for more and more people to be connected and plugged in and feeling confident, working with energy and their divine guidance. And so in that conversation and being in that space, what I see is that they're saying, I hear it loud and clear. This. You're just a little afraid. And welcome aboard. I mean, totally understand the negative self-talk. Totally understand, that harsh voice, that we tell ourselves, like, who are you to do this? Just remember what Marianne Williamson said, right? Who are you not to, right? I would create for yourself some empowering success habits that allowed you to feel like you were fueled, that you were moving towards your expansion, your spiritual expansion, your business, your wealth, your health, all of it. What do you get, Diddy?
So Jen, I work with Jen. So
yep.
It's completely normal. And this is, again, why we have the 1-year course, because we see it. It's one of the things that we see with our clients a lot. It can be really scary to do things like this on our own, to just kind of get out there. And it's like 3 steps forward with all this enthusiasm, excitement. And then our saboteur, our inner critic can go like a garage door. Jen, that's what I'm showing me. Like I have a symbol of a garage door when it closes suddenly. That's how quickly the thoughts can come in, and they just go. And when that occurs, Jennifer, sometimes we feel like we're alone, and then we start to doubt the coaching, we doubt what we're doing. But remember, and I think Jen, I think you picked up our book. You don't look psychic. I'm pretty sure you have. And one thing that we talk a lot about in the book is the divine intuitive guidance is a quiet, repetitive, loving, gentle voice. And that one that closes the garage, Jen, can sometimes be a bit overwhelming. So that's why we have to keep returning to our meditation cushion. And that's why sometimes we question, but keep getting, you've done this lifetime after lifetime in terms of helping people from your heart. And your current business was a very logical step, but they keep telling me what's next for Jennifer, what's in her evolution. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I'm hearing big rockets of expansion. Like, feel the fear and do it anyway. And you got Divya as a coach, so you can't go wrong.
Excellent. Learn from the best. What can I tell you?
Aw, mwah. Sweet.
Oh, that's so sweet. So Melody did type in her question, and Shona, if you could type yours again, I apologize. Shona had a question about miscarriages, and it sort of disappeared on my
Okay.
feed, so I apologize. Oh, Jennifer says she loves us. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I love you too, honey.
Aw.
Melody, the woman who wrote about sorry, I'm just reading these because they're going to disappear from my feed. She writes in, I compare myself to others that I see flying down their path, doing and opening to more opportunities, but I feel like that is not where I am supposed to be. What is the deeper message for me in this time of deep healing? Remember we were saying, I don't hear a question there. That's the one. She's thinking other people.
Yeah. Melody, what I hear is the message. What the message is that we are doing our work even when we're standing still. This deep dive that you're going, they're showing me a really deep dive that you're going into, and that you're exactly where you want to be, where you need to be. And they're showing me for you to trust that and to trust your own. Like, it's real easy to compare, and we see all the pretty stuff on the outside that everybody wants us to see, right? Everybody's life is perfect, and everybody's except for mine, right? You're like, oh, everybody's got zillions of business, oh, except for mine, right? So what we do. And it's not the case, because this is where we go into the conversation of universal law of oneness, right? Your part, if that person if you see someone's success, if you're aware of it, it's part of you. It's part of your success. So claim that awareness instead of when you see someone who's doing well, and you feel, sometimes we feel this little tinge of jealousy, right? Like, and it's not, we don't mean to, we don't wish anything harm, but what it is, that little tinge is that because it's showing us that we don't believe that we deserve to have what that person has. And so what I would recommend to you is like to take a look, is like, what do those people have that I want? And I would put them on my master manifestation list. And I would start creating daily success habits that feed into that. So if it's like, if they're super duper psychic and they're like the best intuitives on the planet, and that's what you want to do, then I would start practicing my intuitive abilities. And that would be one of my success habits. Every day I would practice my intuitive abilities. Comparing yourself, sweetie, let me just tell you this. You know, that's why our fingerprints are different. We are the individualized aspect of the divine. No two are the same. And when we start comparing, or we're looking, oh, look at that person, they've got 1 million, they've got 500 people in their class and I only have 2, or I don't have any clients and they've got all the clients, right? That's because this time for you, honey, is for you to slow down, dig deep into your roots. And I'm seeing the rune Athila, so that's the rune of ancestry, of the land and of the ancestors. And for you to go deep into your roots, into the roots of your beliefs, into the roots of your family history, and to how you see yourself. Because you are perfect, complete, and whole, exactly as you are, lacking nothing.
Beautiful. Bang on. Ditto.
Oh, you can
Ditto, Melody. It can be really challenging to compare ourselves, like Lynette was saying. And yet, I keep hearing, and yet we are whole and we are complete. And Melody, you know, I think I've known you for about 6 or 7 or 8 years. I'm not sure. And I just feel like you're descending deeper into some deeper levels of healing. And everybody is on their own mission. And we want to watch those rockets and explode and clap for them as we continue on our path. And they just said, Melody, you're not doing anything wrong. I literally just heard that. So I hope that helps. Let me know, Melody, how that lands. I hope that helps.
And the more that we can acknowledge like Divi's success is my success. My success is Divi's success. The more that we can realize that universal law of oneness, and that those people, universal law of correspondence, are reflecting back to us our potential. It's not telling us we don't, it's showing us that we do. So to me, it gives me more confidence, and that would tell me that you're ready. go. Ready, set, go.
And I'm glad you're
When you're
listening to
ready.
your intuition slowing down a bit right now. That's huge.
Yeah.
A lot of us don't. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing that.
Mm-mm.
Absolutely huge. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
And I think we're up to date with the questions. I know Shona typed one in, but it disappeared on my feed. So I don't want to pretend like I know what the question was. So she hasn't retyped it in. She wrote about she had her third miscarriage, and she's wondering
Okay.
if she will be able to have a family. She called into our the calling show I do on Friday. She called into that as well. I think it was that day that she discovered she had her third miscarriage. And so the question she had asked specifically then that I'll bring here, Lynette, because I've already read it to her and I'll let you run in a second, was that day she wondered if she was in the right country. She's in the States from I think the UK, and you know, she's just kind of wobbling a bit on this conversation.
So the question is,
Will fertility happen to her? And basically she's asking, why does this keep happening?
and wait, what?
Shona, S-H-O-N-A.
So I see, Shauna, that the first thing is that there's something about the contract between you and the child. And I hear that the timing's not right now. The timing has not been, there's been a miss in timing. And it's not you, it's the situation, it's the timing. I do feel like you will conceive and have a child. I feel like that the child that's being drawn to you, the soul that's being drawn to you, is a very, very, very special child. And going through I've been through a miscarriage. I've lost a child. I understand all this personally. So what I would tell you is that to understand that this is part of this is preparing you to be in so much awe of what's coming. I keep hearing miracle, and I see a glow, and I see energy, and I see you surrounded by your family and your friends and your loved ones. I see that this child that's coming in is very, very special and very, very sensitive and needs his habitat to be very zen. So I see part of your practice is living that and living the universal laws, living that oneness with detachment and going, I know that I have a purpose here. I know I have a calling here. I know what there is. And to understand that this soul is picked you. It's picked you 3 times. It's not a different soul. It's the same soul. So it's not over yet, darling. It's not over. What do you get, Vivi?
It's very, very similar. The word I heard on Friday that I'm hearing again is homeostasis. So I heard it on Friday, which to me means find your center and making sure your acid, base, everything is balanced. And a lot of us think, okay, I got to get up and leave here. But a lot of times it's just prepping the surroundings, going to yoga class, meditating, lighting incense. You know, it's about creating the sanctuary in our own space. And I just keep hearing also stop doubting how powerful you are, Shauna. Like, oh my God, you're such a powerhouse once you start to see it. That's what I'm hearing really loudly. So, yeah.
And remember, you deserve to have it. There's something like when Divi said to have that homeostasis, to have that peaceful environment. You know, that space. It's being that and believing it to the core of your being, no matter what anybody else says.
And Shauna, let me know how that lands, if you could. So a woman named Lauren typed in, hello, first time here, may I have a reading, please? And I typed in, does she have a specific question?
Sure.
But so I'm just waiting to hear back. So
Sure.
yeah, just waiting to hear back. So
Yeah. Yeah, we got 15
yeah,
more
we've got
minutes.
15 more minutes. So
Wow, it passed
I know it
fast.
passed really quickly today. It's just, I know.
Boom. Done.
I know, it's crazy.
What? Done. I love it.
Yeah. And Lauren,
I
if you
love
do
it.
have a specific question, just ask, unless you wanted to. Oh, she writes. Okay, Lauren writes in. Oh, this is a great question. I just want to know about love. Will new love come in for me soon?
Ooh, Lauren, when you asked that question, I felt this massive tsunami and tidal wave just rushing over my entire body.
Thank you.
So I'm like, you know, and it's so funny because we were asked about love earlier, right? Love is definitely in the house. I feel like, Lauren, that, and this is kind of cheesy, but it's the truth. It's about starting here, loving yourself even more. But there's this massive tidal wave. There's somebody, yes, yeah. Will new love come for you? I'm like, yeah, definitely. I mean, so here's what I want to say about that too. I mean, that question is kind of like, it's a 50%er. You know, I got 50% chance of getting it right. And so I want to dive in just a little bit more, Lauren, about what do you want from your ideal love? Like, what's going to satisfy you? Like, to have that kind of love, that the love that you want. Maybe you don't want fireworks. Maybe you want strength or whatever, right? It feels like to me that when I tune into you, I hear she's a love bug. That's one of my words is love bug. And it's like, I feel like you have this massive heart, so much love. And when it comes into that space that people get overwhelmed by your energy of love because it's so big. So don't let that, I just want to say, don't think that you're too much. If anybody's told you that you're too much, you just have them step aside, right? Because you're not too much. You're not. That's why I keep hearing, tell her she's not too much. You're not too much. You're not too much. You are awesome. Keep going. What'd you get, Viv?
I had a very similar experience, Lauren, when you typed in your question. Somebody just like popped my heart chakra open. My whole left side just went. They just said to me to say to Lauren just to be still and know that she is deserving and allowing. And similar to what Lynette said about never thinking you're too much, just allowing it in and knowing that you were born to be incredible and you are incredible and that it is there. So, and she wrote in thank you. So it feels like that landed.
No.
So
Good.
There's a question from Martina. Martina's in our year course right now. Not Martina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She writes in, recently I became aware. I hope that helps, Lauren. Sorry, I just wanted to go back. Recently I became aware of this one deep layer of where my anger comes from. It has to do with my mom and a child she lost when I was about 9 or 10. And I've been made aware that I was blaming this child for a lot of my anxiety and weight issues. Just wondering, I did some forgiveness around it. Is there a message I need to hear? So your mom lost a child when you were 9 or 10, and you've been blaming yourself for it? Blaming this child. Oh, you're blaming the child for a lot of anxiety. Okay, got it. Okay. Got it.
That anxiety feels to me like it was your protection to not have to deal with the loss and the expectation. It feels to me like you took some of it to heart. You know, like how children take on that it's their fault that their parents get divorced or that their parents are arguing. It feels like you took that on a little bit, that you took on like, oh, I should have da-da-da-da-da. or some people aren't happy, mom's not happy, things aren't right, and so I need to do the tap dance. I need to do whatever I can do so that I can, be good girl, and everything will be fine. And after losing a child, nothing is fine, and you never go back. So it feels like to me like you're holding a lot of grief about the loss of a sibling. What do you get to?
Similar stuff. Keep seeing your mom, Martina, somebody who holds a fair amount of energy. Like, she takes up a lot of the energy room, not in a bad way. It's just a powerful woman, strong woman, and it just they're asking Martina to ask you, just imagine yourself as 9 or 10 years age. That was the age you were, and being around this woman, your mom, who had this horrific loss, and what that would have felt like. So I think your kids are close to 9 or 10, if I'm not mistaken. It's interesting that you're typing this in right about now. I think your kids are 7 or 8, and I could be wrong about that, but pretty close in age. And what your experience is, Martina, being around this mom who had this big energy. I keep seeing your mom with lots of energy, and then having to, like, I keep seeing you're really busy cleaning up your mom's grief and anger and sadness, but at your expense, at what you might have experienced, at what you would have felt. And yeah, your kids are 9 years old, so you're the same age. So I find it interesting that this layer is coming out at the same age your kids are. So if you can see it through your kids' eyes and wonder, wow, what was that like for me?
Yes.
And that's where the rooting and the healing is going to be, is when you can embrace what that inner child of Martina felt. And what they just keep showing me a picture of what you packed on, like you said, your weight and some of the anxiety, what you packed on and held on to, and what they just said, what you made that whole experience mean. And I'd ask you, not a lot of families talk about things. So did you guys actually talk about it? Did you unpack it? Did you, were you able to work through it? Were you able to go to your emotions with it? And I don't feel yet you were completely. So like Lynette was saying, grieving yourself, grieving for the loss of the sister, but also all the energy took on in that time. Those 2 layers is what I'm getting. I'm sure there's another layer. Yeah, that's what I'm getting that. Martina, let me know how that lands. There, what she writes in, there was no talking about it. Interesting.
Oh gosh, and I think parents do that because they think that's the easiest thing. They don't want to bring sadness, or they don't want to bring death into their children's life. And death is a part of life. It's a sacred part of life. I totally get it. Oh, Martina.
She wrote it, it totally resonates. So Martina, I'm not surprised. We're doing the forgiveness month right now in the year course. Your kids are 9. Like, you're now going to something that you have frozen in you. And they just, as soon as I said frozen into you, they showed me your abdominal area. That they call it the rectus abdominis, like the 6-pack. They showed me that. As soon as I said abdominal, I said, yep, okay. So she stored a lot of air in that fascial area. So I do some energy work, because I know you do energy work on that area. Yeah. Perfect. And she writes in, I felt like it came up at this time for a specific reason. My girls are so anxious now. Yeah, makes sense.
It makes, and there, so think about it, Martina, the lineage, the blood, your blood runs through their veins. Your grandparents' blood, your mother's blood runs through your veins. And in that is all of that energy, from what you experienced. So it's like, it would be a good, thing for you to heal that space for you, and maybe even do a ceremony for yourself about, saying goodbye to a sibling you didn't really meet, right? Or something like that. And maybe even when and if the time is right, sharing that with your daughters. Maybe, if it's right, you gotta be healed and ready for that, right? So I would definitely talk about it.
But yeah, she writes, and she completely forgot about it until she had her Reiki session a few weeks ago. So it makes sense.
your course will bring that stuff up, doesn't it, Debbie?
Yeah. You think your course will do that? I think so, Lynette. Is that what we
think
do? Love you, Martina. I hope that helps.
Yeah, darling.
Breathe writes in, I think this is a comment. She writes in, I carried my mother's grief. This is Breathe. She writes in, I carried my mother's grief after my father passed when I was 11 years old. Wow.
Wow.
I had no experience of sharing my grief with her. Wow.
And I can feel you, Preet, still holding it. And, you know, I think as children, especially, you know, I think as daughters, we think that's our job, you know, to take the pain, or as mothers or sisters, or, you know, as family members, our job is to take it away. And it's the biggest thing we can do is just be there and witness, you know, our loved ones' expansion. They're, you know, be there for them. But my goodness, darling, that's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. How can you share that for yourself? Maybe not with your mom right now, but how can you share that with yourself to where you can expand and have some space for yourself to really, like, put that over there, like excavate it from your body?
That's big. It's really big. Breathe through only 11. They just said to me as soon as you typed that in, I heard right away, that's where a lot of our anger comes from. So I felt in your energy body, breathe right in the front of your chest. It's like, you know, I totally get it. We don't talk about it. You've held it for your mom since you were 11 years old. So
she's got a massive breastplate in front of her.
You feel that too?
Chakra.
It's the first thing I felt. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, did you get that? Did you know I'm teasing? How long do you have to do this when we play these games, right? Did you get that? Sorry, Breathe.
How'd you do that?
Breathe. Let us know if that helps or if that lands at all. If you can feel some of what we're talking about with that breastplate and the protection.
Grief, you know, especially, you know, we're talking about grief and having it, you know, at a very young age and not knowing what to do with it, because our culture, our parents, they don't know what to do with it, and they don't know to teach us how to hold that at such a young age. And, you know, it's a very sacred conversation. It's very important. Please, Preet, get that out of your body, darling.
Please let us know how that lands for you, hon.
Yeah.
Wow, that was really fast. Let's wait, give her a few minutes and see if she types in.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Right.
I just looked at the clock and went, what just happened?
Wow.
I know. That was so quick. She writes in, I've through a lot of stuff in these layers, I became a doc. I became a doctor to stay close to father.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
It does.
Oh, Preet.
Wow.
Give that away.
Yeah.
It's not yours to hold, baby. That's your mom's to hold and to heal. And you work with yours. Keep feeling her dad. Yeah. He's a very strong man. Very, very strong. Like your hero. Feels like he was her hero.
So much.
Yeah.
So much at 11. I love that.
Yeah.
Now it's time for the last thing I'm getting for you is now it's time for you to take care of you. Salt baths. Yeah. Listening to yourself. Yes. What do you want for you?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
Got a beautiful message from Martina. It said, thank you, ladies. You're so wonderful to share yourself with us. Thank you, hon.
Aw. Thanks for being
and
here.
Tamara, thank you
playing
for
with
thumbs
us.
up too. Thank you, everyone. So awesome. So we will be back in 2 weeks at this time slot on Facebook Live. Thank you all so much for showing up and sharing your questions. So we love you all so much.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Lynette. That was fun. Big love, everyone.
Yeah, that was. I always have fun with
you too. That was so much fun. I got this hit. Did you get that hit?
It was. Thank you.
Right.
Thanks, everybody, for being here.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Love you all.
Ciao. Big
Bye.
love, everyone.